Dame la moustache en la capucha. Casito patanilo, mira tacatiki puneti. Casito patanilo, mira tacatiki puneti. Casito patanilo, mira tacatiki puneti. Casito patanilo, mira tacatiki tacatiki. Casito patanilo, mira tacatiki puneti. Casito patanilo, mira tacatiki puneti. Casito patanilo, mira tacatiki puneti. Casanile, dame la moustache en la capucha.
What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show, and today, they won, they did win. I don't see an issue with it, but I just don't get it. I don't understand why a win doesn't feel like a win. It's like the most bizarre thing you've ever seen in your entire life. It's like, yeah, they won, but look at what they won. You know what? This felt like I may be aging myself a little bit, but remember when there were the game shows, and in those game shows, it would be like, you can win a brand new car. And then they would sit up there and the people would be so into it and they're trying their best to win and all this type of stuff. And then all of a sudden they miss out on one basket, or they didn't make the last one, or they didn't get to a certain amount. And all of a sudden they'll be like, oh, you lost. But we're going to send you home with a consolation prize. And all of a sudden they announce what the consolation prize is. It's a blender. That's what this feels like. This feels like the consolation prize. This feels like the blender. This feels like even though they won, it doesn't feel like a win. It feels like a win, but it feels like a win that is like, is it? We haven't beaten a quality quarterback. Let's get that to the point. Carson Wentz is terrible this year. When we saw Dallas, they were on their third stringer who they clearly didn't think was ever going to play. And here we are, Ryan Finley. I got something for y'all. But we faced Ryan Finley, and he looked awful. He looked awful. So, Joe Burrow goes down with a terrible, terrible knee situation. But again, you're talking about at that time when he went down, the score was only like 9-7 in their favor. Their kicker, who had the biggest gut I've ever seen on a kicker. This guy looked like he came from drinking beer and eating hot wings to all of a sudden being an NFL kicker. It's no way that a guy with a gut that big is going to make any kicks, to be honest. But that's just neither here nor there. But he kept us in the game because he was missing all his kicks. So, and then when Joe Burrow goes down, you can see not only the offense deflate, but also the defense deflate. So it was almost like, again, it's a win, but it doesn't feel good. It really, really honestly doesn't feel good. So today, I got my version. Today's version of the good and bad and ugly is the good, the okay, and a meh. So, start off with the good. Terry McLaurin's consistency. He shows up in the good every single game. Even though last week he had a fumble, the guy's just the most consistent thing on this team. Even if you want to hate some things that he does, you just can't, because the guy plays his heart out and he comes up big each and every opportunity he gets. So to be quite honest, at some point, you just got to get this. Like, if Terry McLaurin doesn't make the Pro Bowl, that's going to be the craziest thing ever. The guy deserves a Pro Bowl bid. He deserves to be the starter in the Pro Bowl. But, again, that's neither here nor there. But, like I said, he's always the good. The good, Antonio Gibson. He had 94 yards. He was 6 yards away from I think he had 94 yards. So, rushing, again, okay, yeah, he had but it's still a good, the other good, we didn't draft Ryan Finley. I remember a lot of you fan Snyders out there sitting up there talking about the possibility and wanting to draft Ryan Finley. I had to do a whole film breakdown and explain to y'all why Ryan Finley wasn't that good. And thank God that the powers to be did not draft him, because I told y'all he was a terrible quarterback. I told y'all that. And clearly it showed up in the Bengals game today. Again, I go back to what I said before. Somehow, some way, I hate to make it about race and stuff like that, but these white quarterbacks, they get all the opportunities, and they get opportunities to be awful. And somehow they find a way to find some success. But neither here nor there. Ryan Finley is a good because we didn't draft him. Because I remember I had to argue with so many people about Ryan Finley. I told y'all he was superly inconsistent. I told y'all he was fidgety in the pocket. I told y'all when it came to accuracy, he wasn't accurate. And even with his arm, I said, yeah, he does have an NFL arm, but he's nowhere near a quarterback you would want on your team. So with that being said, that's the good. The okay. The defense showed up today. I mean, they did, but again, guess what? They showed up when Joe Burrow went out. Joe Burrow didn't get a sack today, even though technically he got one, but not really. So Joe Burrow goes out the game. The offense deflates. Ryan Finley comes in. He holds on to the ball. And all of a sudden, the team is getting home and stuff like that. So, again, like I said, it was okay. I mean, it wasn't something to, bat your eyes at and be excited about because, they weren't getting home when Joe Burrow was in the game. And not only that, we were still down 2 when it came down to the factor of why we were still down 2 when Joe Burrow was still in the game. So you telling me that if Joe Burrow was still playing, we might have lost this game, and the defense wouldn't have been able to do nothing about it because, I mean, don't get me wrong, Ronald Darby, for some reason they thought that they could pick on Ronald Darby, and they tried their best to go after him, but it didn't work out. It wasn't successful, thank God. But again, the defense played okay. I mean, I was okay with it, but it's just, I want that stellar defensive play, that we see from some other teams. I mean, to be quite honest, the whole second half was pretty boring. It was really boring. Like, it wasn't no getting around it. It was really, really boring. And to be quite honest, I don't know. I don't know where to go with this. It was boring. I don't know. Last but not least is my the way this team was coached. I mean, again, we got the win, but that offense, it didn't really do nothing. I mean, most of y'all were talking about the fact of Alex Smith. Oh, it must have been Jay Gruden's offense that is why he didn't look so good and why he's throwing it around and stuff like that. Well, guess what? We weren't really behind in this game. I mean, we was down 2, which was kind of crazy because we actually was starting to throw more, only being down 2 versus being down like 20. So it was kind of weird. I mean, we had a lot of 3 and outs. I mean, I don't know if a lot of y'all saw that, but we had a lot of 3 and outs on offense. And to be quite honest, this was just like the slowest game I've ever seen. It was slow. It was so boring. And it was just like, I mean, Scott Turner, it's almost like he started to call plays just to make sure that they don't get blown out. And then, like I said, it just became like, what is this? Man. Scott Turner's offensive play calling, man. I mean, not only that, there was a point in the game that, and this is why I always come back to saying, Ron Rivera might not be our guy. we might have given him too much power to come here, because the referees basically bailed us out of a foolish call he was about to do. Now let's talk about that. Let's talk about that foolish call he was about to do. You talking about we get a safety, and he was possibly thinking of, when you found out that there was a penalty, he was possibly thinking about pushing them back 10 yards. Even though their kicker, who looked like he just finished eating hot wings and drinking beer, was missing kicks, why would you do that? Like, why would you not want the points? Like if the referees didn't bail us out of that play, Ron Rivera would have made a dumb decision, especially if by chance their kicker made the kick. Because understand, at that point it was fourth down and fourth and like 15, which would have been like maybe like a 30-something yard kick for him. Again, like I said, even though he was missing, why take the chance of him possibly kicking it and possibly hitting? Because he did hit 2 kicks. But again, that was a foolish call by Ron Rivera. And the fact that every time I turn around, everybody is always talking about trusting Ron. I'm going to tell you what I hate about this game the most. The thing I hate the most about this game is that it gives Alex Smith another opportunity. Alex Smith didn't even throw for 200 and something yards this game. I think he ended the game with like maybe 170 or something like that. But man. This is just one of those games that you sit up there and say, I'm sorry, y'all. This is just one of those games that you sit up there and say, what was even the point of playing? What was really the point in playing? Because they didn't look atrocious, but it's just like, it doesn't feel like a win. It just doesn't feel like a win. And it's sad when your team wins and you don't feel like they won. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. I just think that, when it comes to Ron Rivera, he's not the right coach. I mean, that's just my honest opinion. I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with firing him. I don't see nothing wrong with firing Ron Rivera's ass. I don't see nothing wrong. He's not coaching us right. Fire his ass tonight so we can get on with this shit. Get on with it. I don't want to see this no more. That needs to kick Ron out the door and make sure he doesn't come back to Ashburn. Don't want him in Ashburn. Cause we need someone like Marty to coach this team correctly. I just don't see. I know I just did something that was like totally goofy and random all out of nowhere, but I had to do that, y'all. But I'm sorry, y'all. I mean, as much as this is supposed to be a win, I just don't feel it. And I'm sorry to be a Debbie Downer, but we didn't really get a win. We got the blender. This has been your man, John Fortune, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.